So as far as retention goes, you've got to consider how you want to evaluate everyone in your mix, and you can group them into your great performers, your average performers, and your bad performers. Pretty easy way to group a whole bunch of different companies that are working with you. And what you want to do is evaluate. I'm not saying here that, hey, keep your great performers, look at your average performers and kill off your bad performers. We're going to actually look at ways in which, because remember, what we want here is retention. Remember that snowball diagram I showed you, where even if there are people who are not doing so well, they're still trying. Okay. If they're still trying, they're still advertising. They're still promoting your brand. It might be the reason that other companies are getting deals. Maybe they're sniping that other company's deals. So I need you to take a minute here and not just be so cutthroat and just cut everyone off, because that's what makes for a very short-lived business plan. What you want to do is look at ways in which you can, reinvigorate if there is a need for it. Breathe some life into some of the companies that are considered bad performers, assist average performers and hopefully drive them up and turn them into great performers. If great performers ever drop or dip a little bit, how could you assist? And if everyone's kind of working together and you have, over time, you'll understand how this works as far as dynamic is concerned with your sector, your business. You'll know what you can do to prop companies up very quickly. So let's look at the great ones. Some of the basics, some of the most obvious points here. First off, they're your most loved group. Why? Pretty obvious. They're making you the most money. Whenever you call them or they call you, it's, hey, we've just pulled in these deals. We've got this new marketing campaign out. Lots of money floating around. They love your product. They're your best ambassadors. They're constantly telling people how great this is. However, there's a couple of caveats to that. I'm going to go into that. But before I do that, outside of them being the best ambassadors to your customers, it's to new partners as well. So if you can actually take these great performers and showcase them, to the new channel partners or businesses that you're trying to bring on board. Say, hey, this company is doing it and they're making these kind of sales, or they're doing these sorts of figures per year. These are the strategies. We know the strategies because they work with us. We can help you deploy in the same capacity. You could be earning or you could be doing the same in terms of numbers. So a great way to keep new business coming in. And also, by doing that, you could be assigning them underneath that one of these businesses as a master agent. So they'll become a sub agent, if you will, a sub distributor. So the great performer could be earning a commission on them. Very straightforward. It's just basically working with the knowledge that we have. It's just trying to get people to do more of what they're doing, right? So, they are essential to hit your monthly income targets. You can tend to start relying on these guys because this sudden influx of money. You went from doing $1 million a month to say 5 to 6 million a month. Now you're starting to work at that level. You're operating at that level. You're marketing at that level. You're building your internal infrastructure up. Maybe you bought some more supply. You start relying on them to hit your income target. So got to be a bit careful there. So you want to treat them well and reward them with bonuses and prizes and gifts outside of what's typically available, that you're promoting to the entire network. I mean, you're going to have standardized competition, standardized KPIs, key performance indicator, gifts and that sort of thing, and prizes. But with the great performers, you want to do the extra, something extra special for them, so or they know that you recognize how valuable they are to you. And obviously provide them with more support and maybe even support staff. One thing I used to do is I used to hire people dedicated. A couple of smart moves here. I either sent someone that I trained up internally to their premises and would work on location with them as a direct conduit. Great for them because they could have things happen very quickly because there was someone authorized from the master side, the product provider side. But equally, also let me know exactly. I mean, I really had a pulse on what was happening within that business. Almost like I had my inside man. But equally, that's the benefit to me. But the benefit to them is they're getting way more support so they can focus on what they're doing best. So great performance. You want to look after them. You want to love them and you want to try and keep them great as long as possible. As long as they're making money and everything's harmonious there, they will keep doing it. So don't have to worry too much about retention there, but you do have to follow those basic principles. But, I've gone too far. Average performers. Average performers they make up the majority of your network. You're going to have, if this is a bar here, your bad performers will be sort of dwindling around this level. the majority will be the average. In fact, maybe even up here. And you'll have a very small amount. You'll have a very small amount of great. Just for the sake of drawing on this board, I felt like I had to finish this off. But the average performers, look, the fact is you're going to be paying a lot of attention to them because they're the ones who are fighting hard. They're putting a lot of budget into their marketing. They're not necessarily doing the huge numbers, but collectively they're doing a massive amount of business for you. This is a lot of money. Okay. Collectively, your great performers may be doing these one-hit wonder deals. But it's your average performers that are really, pulling in the money. And more importantly, great performers, right? What makes a great performer a great performer? In your eyes, it's simply because the money's coming in, because it's the results, right? But what if they're tapping a pre-existing, low-hanging fruit? So that money is actually not going to last forever, the deals that they're coming in. They're great performers right now because maybe they're going into their existing client base. But as soon as they've milked that and they now have to start looking for new business, they fall into the average category. So all of your new business interest is coming in from your average for the most part. They'll sell with consistently, as I say, not with high numbers. Like I say, collectively be advertising your brand the most. You want to take a lot of care, take a lot of care when it comes to dealing with them. You want to make sure that you're not trying to crack a whip and say, do better, do better, do better. You want to do things to incentivize them. We talked about having training, events, seminars, competitions, that sort of thing. Reward them with free deals. Again, the support infrastructure is a really big thing. If you've got a high ticket product where you're selling a lot of volume and you have the capacity to do this, provide more support infrastructure, or at the very least, just regular coaching. Setting the goals and the KPIs, keeping the lines of communication open. Remember, not just, email me when you have a problem with work, or, be available to have a conversation with them. And everyone in this category can collectively become great performers. They have the ability to, because they're growing or they're trying to grow. And then at least they're not in a situation when they're on a decline, which leads us to our bad performers, right? They're not bad people necessarily, although some may be, but you'll know this group very well because they've ghosted you. You sign them up, everything's great, and then they just disappeared. I'll give you an example of something that happens a lot, actually. You'll find that these companies will take on a contract with you. You send them the marketing information. They'll look to present this information on their website to show to their customers that they have more to offer, but they're really just selling one thing, and it might not be your thing. So be mindful of there's a lot of people out there who are just going to work with you just so they could have or share with some of your branding, benefit from your brand identity or some of the other work, the work that the other average or even great performers are putting out there. They're sort of riding on their coattails. So be mindful of that. And also, and if there are bad ones, like I say, you can just forget about them if you want. But if they're bad because they're trying hard, but they're just not able to succeed, should you just forget about them? And I always say this, slow progress is still progress. And if you have a good, strong, average performing network, maybe a couple of great ones, or maybe just a growing average performing, you can afford to spend some time with your bad performers and see what it is that they need to have, to help have them be more successful with what it is that you're selling. I've done this a few times. Some of these companies that you work with, they buy into your idea, your concept, your business. They just don't have the infrastructure to execute against sales, but they know the market inside out. They're almost like your best friends. They'll keep calling you. They call you. Sometimes they're the annoying ones that just won't ever stop calling you and just have 1,000,001 questions. I know a few that I could just reel off right now, in terms of people that I work with in the private equity space. But then there are the others that are doing that because they're trying hard, but they're just not able to crack the egg. Those guys can sometimes be your best introducers. They can actually become master agents. So you can actually help them transcend out of their own position by saying, look, why don't you within that territory go and sign up as many other companies as you can, and actually become a master distributor and bring them on for me and I'll give you an override. Some of these guys have been extremely successful doing that. Equally, what I've also done, and what you can do is you can marry them essentially with another company. So a bad performer who's trying hard, just not succeeding, can be a good person to link with an average performer or a great performer who needs or is looking to take on other people relevant from that industry. Because remember, there's no one irrelevant here. Everyone's relevant. We're not talking about, oh, he's a bad performer or she's a bad performer or that company's bad because they don't sell what we sell. And so they're not, and therefore they're not selling for us. No. These are people that we've already classified as relevant business entities that we want to work with. They're just bad because either they've ghosted you, they're just not doing well, they're doing bad things, they're mis-selling your products, or they're just trying hard and they're just not able to achieve. It's business at the end of the day, and that can happen. So you can partner with them up with others and offer solutions wherever you can. And okay, I say they may surprise you. You know, it's sometimes it's just about the circumstances. And if you're in a position of power and you can change those circumstances for someone else, you've got higher attention after that. The likelihood of them sticking with you and being your best ambassadors is very strong, especially if you're bringing someone out of a decline situation. Some of my best friendships in this business have been forged from this scenario. Someone was basically slowly dying from a business standpoint. They just weren't bringing in the money, clinging on deal to deal. And I pulled them out because I felt that they had some extra skill sets that I think that I could have benefited from. I lent on those. I developed them. I didn't develop them myself. I just put that person in an opportune state, strategically position them for them to flourish. And sometimes you want to look how you can do that, because whilst they're not your employees, you still want them to make you money and they're still opening doors for you. So always be mindful. So that's it, really, just going through and analyzing. I mean, there's, your network. There's so many different ways that you can slice a cake, but the fact is, I'm going for the simplest route here. We've already figured out how to build your business, how to find them. Really, you just want to get involved here and just get in the business, just start working with everyone and keep it going as long as you can, and then reinvigorate with new products. Because this part of the journey, I mean, this is in the future. This is not too far in the future, but you're at this point, you won't be talking to someone like me. You'll be in such deep conversation with every other relevant industry party. You'll almost be unstoppable. So you'll be able to figure things out at this point. So I'll see you in the next section where we're going to discuss a nice shark tactic that I think you're going to like. It's a very, very interesting one. So I'll see you there.